here we go. What not to do with your wife, essentially. This is another lesson. My husband read about dead bedrooms online. By the way, there's like 3 articles here that are horrendous. What's going up, Philam? My husband read about dead bedrooms online and he's now certain we'll have one. The article after this one is just horrendous. It says, Dear How to Do It. I'm a woman in her mid-30s who's been married for 5 years to my husband, and we're more than 7 years into our relationship. Things are, on almost every account, good between us. We have 1 son and plan no more. Our jobs are stable. We have a full life with friends and family, but there's one issue he keeps raising with me over and over, and it's starting to drive me nuts. He's terrified we'll become one of the couples whose intimacy dies and never has sex the longer we stay together. So this guy's reading probably some red pill shit or dead bedrooms on Reddit, and he's absolutely showing his insecurity to his woman and getting screwed in the process because she's getting less and less attracted to him. That's disgusting. To a woman, you need to be the rock, man. You need to be stable emotionally. If you're constantly groveling up to your woman like, oh, I don't want to be a dead bedroom. Please tell me we're going to keep having sex. Are we going to keep having sex? I don't want to be in a dead bedroom situation. I read this article and this. Bro, dry your woman up like the Sahara. Why would you even bring this up as an issue if it's not even happening according to her? Come on, man. Sex is very important to him and to me, and we make sure to have it at least twice a week. So in her own words, they're having sex at least twice a week, with other favors here and there when time allows. Okay, the pace is down from nearly every day when we first married, so there is a decrease, okay? But I think that's normal, and we've made various efforts to keep things interesting. All right, but at least once a week, he brings up the fear that our sex up will dry up entirely. He reads forums about, there it is, dead bedrooms, and talks about friends who never have sex with their spouses and are tempted to cheat. I try to reassure him, but his constant doubts are honestly starting to make me anxious about the future too. So his insecurity is now spilling into his woman, who is now becoming insecure about the very thing he's insecure about. Okay? Women are the water, men are the containers. If the container is busted, the water leaks out. Essentially, if your emotional state is horrible, that spills down into your woman. You need to be confident and strong that your relationship is happy, everything is good, and your woman will act accordingly also. She follows your lead. If you act like a beta Bob and you're scared about sex drying up and you constantly bring it up to your woman, she's going to start thinking about the sex drying up. And it eventually becomes a reality. Your thoughts then transcend into action. Be very careful. All right. Here's what they tell him to do. Let's see. Or no, sorry, there's more. Let me see. He reads forums about dead bedrooms and talks about friends. Okay, I try to reassure him. Why can't he trust that I know how important this is to him and that we'll communicate if it becomes a problem? I understand this happens to many couples, but it's too much to discuss something that hasn't even happened over and over. He even said he thinks some of his friends are justified in stepping out because their wives misled them with their newlywed sex lives. It's starting to feel like he's already resenting me for future wrongs I have no intention to commit. So this is just straight insecurity here. It's a beta Bob. Essentially, beta bobbing his own relationship. Do you see what's happening here? The insecurity spilled out and it's now turning into a reality for him. His wife is already thinking about stepping out. She's getting nervous about the relationship. She starts having thoughts. Other men start hitting her up at her job, at the gas station, whatever. What do you think she's going to think about her relationship and her husband? That he's a strong, confident man that believes in their marriage, or that this dude's constantly worrying about a dead bedroom situation. He thinks he's not getting sex and he's talking to her about stepping out on the relationship. How do you think this is going to end for this guy? Perfect example of what not to do, boys. It says if you're having sex 2+ times a week, what did I say? 2+ times a week, 5 years into your relationship, you're well ahead of the curve from what the data suggests. A frequently cited 2017 study published in the Archives of Sexual Behavior found couples in their 20s average sex 80 times per year, with age being a factor contributor to sexual frequency. You're at 104 plus favors. Damn, dude. That's a little low. So you're more than good if you're evaluating based on your husband's metric of comparing yourselves to other couples. He is either so anxious he's irrational, or he's dog whistling issues he has with your sex life now. I would check against both options. Yeah, he's just an anxious person, blah, blah, blah. Let's read the next one because that advice is whatever. This is the one that caught my eye too. I currently attend, This is mind-blowing. I currently attend college as a full-time student. I have a sundry of costs and expenses that I have to pay for, and I've turned to sex work for money. It started when I met a man on an app who offered me $100 for oral in his car, and I've branched out from there. Do you see what I mean? Started off with $100. Unreal. $100 is all it takes to sell your body and then get into the line of commodifying yourself. From an app. What is the app called? Is it Tinder? I know some men just straight up open up what would you do for $100? Someone's in need. Someone needs their college tuition paid for, apparently. This has now led me to a pretty tough situation. I recently fell victim to a scam. Check fraud, specifically. So she just gave up a blowy and the dude scammed her with a check. Tremendous brains here. I was so desperate for money to pay for school costs that I ended up falling for a common scam through my sex work. What a genius. Now I owe my bank about $200 and it froze my accounts. Moreover, the bank said that if I don't pay in about a month, the bank will report it. The reason I'm so concerned is that I share a joint account with my mother. Not that I give blowies out for $100. It's just that we share an account and she'll find out. And I don't know how long I can keep up with not telling them about the account stuff. I don't want my parents finding out. Not only would they be upset by the check fraud stuff, I'm afraid of having to tell them about my sex work when they ask about what happened. So it's not about what I do. It's not about what I'm doing. It's just I don't want you guys to know I'm doing it. I don't feel bad for actually doing it. Just like, don't judge me, bro. $100. Well, she says $100 is too much for a blowy. First of all, she got scammed with a fake check. So she gave out a free blowy, technically. Obviously, my first move is to repay the bank promptly. But in the interim, how do I avoid telling them? Sex work is decriminalized where I live, but not fully legalized. Moreover, my parents may kick me out or watch me like a hawk if they find out. No shit. They're trying to save their daughter from getting into a less than ideal line of work. And got scammed with a check, bro. This one's already not a bright tool in the shed, right? Come on, dude. Oh, man. Parents might need to start over with a new one. To put in perspective how protective my parents are, they installed security cameras inside and outside the house. They get daily notifications for their email and they monitor phone calls from my personal cell. I also want to continue with the sex work. I don't think it's wrong. What should I do? There you go. There you go. What do they tell her? What is the response that this website gives? Let's see. I'm curious. While I cannot in good faith recommend continuing work that is not fully legal, she said it was legal. I hear you and I feel your pain. I am a pro sex worker and I agree that you aren't doing anything morally wrong. The laws need to catch up. I hope you learned your lesson about accepting and cashing checks because there's no guarantee that anyone's ass will pay them. I hope you've learned a lesson about the need to have your own personal bank account if you're engaging in business. So basically you go queen. Why remain tethered to your overbearing parents? Don't listen to them. You're in college. Be a boss, babe. Blowies for $100. Yas, queen. What? Oh, hell no. I had to bust that one out. We put a new one in, boys. My philosophies in approaching this column are few and simple. At the very top is a really easy one. Don't lie. Except to your parents. And they're actually taking it as sage advice. That's what's crazy. Young people are being misguided left and right. I've read enough of this. This is ridiculous.